So Young Miami took her 10-year-old son to the Rollin' Loud Festival, right? Which is like, why, right off the rip, why is your 10-year-old there, right? The festival is 16 and up, I believe. And then she films her son throwing money on a stripper. Some people was like, oh, there wasn't no stripper there. You can clearly see from this video I'm showing. It was a chick popping that thing right in front of my man. And then she went on to defend it after people called her out about it.
A troll posted a clip of Young Miami's young son throwing money at strippers with the caption, "You gonna address this?" And Miami clapped back with, "My son at Rolling Out having a ball backstage. Let's address it." And this started a Twitter frenzy. One Twitter user said, "He's 6. He shouldn't be out that late, and he shouldn't be throwing money at strippers." And Miami responded with, "He's 10.
That changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, but it ain't funny. Like, she said he 10, and that fully made sense in her mind. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, she said 10 as if she was saying 25 or something.
She then finished her clap back to everybody with, "That's why I don't post my kids. Y'all beep can talk sore in y'all mouth about me, but I'll never give y'all a chance to have an opinion about my kids."
I mean, from listening to this, it don't seem like she the sharpest crayon in the box, but when you take your 10-year-old to a festival like Rolling Loud and have him backstage, VIP, throwing money on a stripper, it's likely to get posted and videoed and put up for internet consumption. And people should talk about it, because if this had been reversed, if this was a 10-year-old girl and a grown man shaking his nuts in her face, it would be a highly different conversation. Somebody would likely be in jail right now. You understand what I'm saying? Including the parents for putting the child in that situation. But because it's a 10-year-old boy, we egg it on. And then you wonder why he ended up with 7 different babies by 6 different baby mamas, along with a few psychological problems because he was starting to be sexualized at 10, 11 years old. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not mad at the way she clapped back, and I'm not mad at the way she's moving. Like, Young Miami is from Miami. The culture there is a little bit different than what we're used to.
I grew up in Miami, and me and my folks don't condone that.
I'm glad she stepped up and said this, because just because you grew up in a certain culture don't make it okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you grew up around strippers, that don't mean it's okay for you to introduce to your kids at 10 years old. You dig what I'm saying? It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Why is he at 10 years old even at this festival? Some people argue that 16 years old ain't really mature enough to process all the debauchery and ratchetness that they talk about in the music today. But yet, he's at the concert, and yet this is the music that parents are giving their kids to consume every day of the week. And a lot of us grew up in a culture eating soul food and fast food. Do that mean, ask a doctor what good that's doing you as you get older? You dig what I'm saying? Like, as a man, I know why he's saying this, but I don't agree with it no more. Like, I know he's saying this because as men, we've often been through this before. Been introduced to things like this. Hey, go give my little cousin a lap dance. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we heard Boosie brag about getting his 10, 11-year-old son's head at some point. Like, if you really take yourself out of how you've been conditioned to think that's okay, like, you would really see how outrageous it is. And I know Boosie can understand this, because just like me, he was outraged about Dwayne Wade's 10-year-old child being introduced to certain things. If other men is having a hard time seeing the outrage in this, just imagine this little boy was at a drag show throwing money on a dude. Yeah, I bet you see the outrage then, as I do too. Like, I'm outraged at all of those scenarios. But did I have fun as a youngin' with titties in my face? I wasn't as young as he was, but yeah, I had fun. I mean, it ain't like it ain't fun when it's going down, but as you get older and you mature, you realize that just because you're a male, it doesn't mean that you had the mental fortitude to withstand what that big juicy booty is going to do to your mind at 10 years old, and where it's going to start to take you mentally. It elevates you into a space that you don't need to be in, and it doesn't set you up for good decisions in life going forward. I'm telling you now. And I just don't think in general most kids have the mental fortitude to withstand most of the stuff that they're being bombarded with on a daily basis. And that's, like, goes back to what I was saying. Why is he there at that concert? But he's probably there because he's already listening to this type of music. City Girls and JT and Lil Uzi Vert and all this shoot 'em up, kill 'em up, twerking, keep popping, all of this is going into a 10-year-old psyche and on down. And then when you look at Instagram, and you know what I'm saying, Instagram is softcore adult movies, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And then just that internet, you think kids don't know how to get a hold to adult movies and this, that, and other? Like, that's a whole nother level of mind, like, sabotage that we are, like, we giving our kids phones, tablets, computers, laptops, we giving our kids every bit of access to so much adult content, be it adult movies, adult music, adult, just all this stuff that kids should not be consuming. And then we expect their little minds to be able to handle it because you can handle it as an adult. So you're like, oh, it ain't gonna really, like, but yeah, it's not. I'm trying to tell y'all, like, I can see it. We can all see it through the cloth of what society is becoming and what our kids are becoming. We see it every day, younger and younger. Like, mothers got their daughters twerking in diapers. You understand what I'm saying? You got grown folks passing blunts to 2-year-olds. You see what I'm saying? Like, so badly, it seems that so many adults want to introduce their kids to a grown life, and they're not realizing how it's going to impact that child for the rest of their lives. Like, some people will watch the show My 600-Pound Life, right? You make fun of the people, the big people that's going through this and doing that, but you can physically see what they're going through. But it started somewhere, right? It started as they were little toddlers, and then they got big parents who think it's okay to feed a child a whole chicken with a 2-liter of pop, right? And it's like, oh, it ain't gonna hurt them. I eat 2 whole chickens. See, we don't think about the mental ramifications because it's harder to see immediately. But something like that, a show like that, you see it immediately. You see that they've been through something. And they're showing what they've been through their weight. And they're showing what they're going through every day as the mental fortification was broken down. They didn't have the mental fortification to deal with how they were set up as a toddler, as a kid, as a young teenager, with their eating habits. And now it's showing because they're 600 pounds. They don't know how to stop. Most of us are out of shape, overweight in some form or fashion because we've been raised up eating the wrong things and saying it ain't gonna hurt us. Oh, it's just a little butt. It ain't gonna hurt. Just a little ham hock. It ain't gonna hurt. It's just a little sugar. It ain't gonna hurt. But then it add up and you get these jaws and you can't, you know what I'm saying? You binge eating, you don't know how to stop eating. That's just the physical where you can see it. But a lot of us are going through mental things that we have got put on too early, just like this video, because the parent looks at it and says, well, this is the culture. This is the music we're listening to. Everybody be twerking. It ain't nothing. He 10 years old. He old enough to handle it. But then later on, he may not even tell people later on what he's going through mentally. But he's going to be going through something. And you may see the repercussions of it through babies he's creating, women he's womanizing, and this, that, and other. And then y'all want to call him a bad guy. But I'm just telling us to think about this type of stuff before we keep setting our children on these paths that we can't pull them back for. This is your boy P. Camp. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.